today I want to discuss with you what questions it's appropriate and necessary to ask your surgeon before you consider any surgical procedure, or certainly before you plan to go ahead with the surgery. So stay tuned until the end, because all of these questions are really important if you have any surgical plans in your future. If you've been to the channel before, then welcome back. If you're new, then very much welcome. If you like this video, then please say so. If you want to subscribe to my channel, then that would be amazing. And also, if you have any comments, then please leave them. I love to read them. They're always interesting, and I try and answer every single one. The key questions you should ask when you're visiting your surgeon, either for the first or second time, and you're considering going ahead with surgery. It's amazing how many people don't ask the right questions, and then on their day of surgery aren't necessarily sure about their choice, or are left with regrets after their surgery because they didn't ask the right questions beforehand. The first question, which is relevant in the UK and the USA, but I'm sure it's relevant elsewhere in the world, is what are your qualifications? Are you qualified, and more specifically, are you specialist qualified to perform the operation we have planned? Now, when it comes to hip or knee surgery, this doesn't just mean are you an orthopedic surgeon, but it more relevantly and more importantly means, are you a specialist orthopedic surgeon who knows hips and knees? Is this what you do all day, every day? When it comes to plastic surgeons, it's not even these days a matter of are you a plastic surgeon, therefore you must know every plastic surgery operation. It's even more nuanced than that. We have specialists within the plastic surgery field who focus on burns or breast or face or other aspects of reconstructive surgery, and it is not a given that any one of these surgeons is an expert in the operation that you're planning to have. In the UK, we call this specialist training being on the specialist register, and this qualifies you as a fully UK trained plastic surgeon with a accredited level of experience in cosmetic surgery. In the USA, this is called board certification, and again it covers the broad range that is plastic surgery. This is almost an essential consideration for any cosmetic or plastic surgery procedure. Equally, for any other specialist operation, you should look at the board certification or specialist training of your surgeon to make sure that they have the relevant accredited experience to do the operation planned. The next question, which seems ridiculous, but actually it's very relevant in the modern day and age, is will you be doing my surgery? I get asked this all the time because in the UK we have surgical clinics that are run by managers, and the patient liaison officers are usually either nurses or salespeople, and these are the people that the patient first sees. It is with these people that the patient discusses their operation, their wants, their desires, their hopes, and it's genuinely a bad idea because the person they're talking to is not specialist trained in this operation. They cannot share with you the specific detail. They're more likely to sell you the operation they want to sell you than give you the answers that you need to make an informed decision. So this is a very relevant question, and one I hear very, very often. It's highly appropriate. I'm glad I hear it because it means that patients have done their homework and they know at least some of the questions to ask. And of course, they're always pleased to know that it is me that's going to be doing their surgery. What hospital facilities are there around the time of my surgery? Now, for some operations, it can be relatively simple, either local anesthetic or a general anesthetic day case where you go home the same day. But still, patients want to know that if there are any problems, then their needs are covered. This might include an intensive care unit if you're having an operation that is more serious and life-threatening. It may include a full range of lab services should you experience something like an infection. It may also include some kind of 24/7 ward cover, whereby if there are any problems you can contact the hospital, speak to a nurse or a resident doctor and ask any questions or concerns that you might have. Surgeons often make up for any shortfall in hospital cover with their own availability. That's certainly what I do, but It's good to know that the hospital will be available to answer any queries or questions, and if there are any emergency requirements that you might have following your operation, that the hospital is there to cover them for you. Alongside this goes the terms and conditions of your surgery. Your surgeon will hopefully explain in detail his commitment to you and what he is offering in terms of surgery, revision surgery, any tweaks that may be necessary, what follow-up is included, whether he will be removing your stitches or whether somebody else will be doing it, and whether physiotherapy is included if you're having that kind of surgery. But it's also important to know what commitment the hospital has to you. If there are revision surgery requirements, then will this be paid for by the hospital? Is there a time limit as to when these will be included? If there is an implant problem and a new implant is required, will this be covered by the hospital? These are all important questions, because in the rare case where some of these questions need answering, it's always hugely disappointing for the patients to hear that none of this is covered and that they're going to have to pay again. So it's very important to understand the terms and conditions of your surgery and any further treatment before you consider going ahead. Probably the most important question, I think, to ask of your surgeon, either on your first or second visit, is how many of these operations have you done? If you are a trained plastic surgeon, then undoubtedly you will have had exposure to the specific operation you're discussing, and good medical practice in any country of the world would suggest that only a surgeon who is confident in performing a certain procedure will be discussing that procedure with you as a paid patient. Having said that, there's a range of experiences. If you are a surgeon who's done 10 of any given operation, then the likelihood of you getting a good outcome, obviously depending on the operation a little, is maybe 70 to 80%, and the remaining 20% may get a suboptimal outcome. This is not to say the operation's been done wrong, but the degree of experience generated by 10 surgeries leaves a little bit of inexperience, which means that the nuances of certain outcomes may be missed. And so it's important to bear this in mind. If you see a surgeon who's done 50 of these operations, then as a guesstimate, I think maybe 80 to 90% of patients will get a great or good outcome from a surgeon who's done this many. And if it's a surgeon who's done over 100 of these operations, then probably you're looking at 95% great or good outcomes. The last 5% can only be achieved by surgeons who've done many hundreds of these operations. Even in this expert group of surgeons, there will still unfortunately be suboptimal outcomes due to the nature of surgery, individual patient healing, and some just unpredictable factors. But it's very important to know that if a surgeon has done 300 or 400 of the operation you're discussing, then the likelihood of an excellent outcome is not insignificantly better than someone who's done only 10. This is the same for virtually any operation you might think of, whether it's minor or major, whether it's orthopedic, general surgery, cosmetic surgery. So many of these operations can be done well by someone who's inexperienced, but to be done great time and time again need a great deal of experience. The next question you should ask any and all of your surgeons regarding your surgical procedure that you have planned is, what complications have you seen? We all have a list of complications that are standardly recognized from any particular operation. In my field, a facelift has a number, including infection, bleeding, nerve injury, lumpiness, bruising, swelling, scar tissue formation, and these we all know about, and most patients would expect to have this discussion. But it's important to ask your specific surgeon, what complications do you know of? This will add an extra layer of understanding between you and your surgeon, and will also demonstrate a little bit more about their experience. I discuss with my patients specific complications and try and show photos of those complications, both to give the patient enough information to make an informed choice, but also to demonstrate that I've seen these complications before personally, I've dealt with them, the outcomes can still be good, and I have the experience not only to treat the patient if everything goes well, but also to treat the patient if everything doesn't go well. And I think this is a really key consideration. A surgeon, if they have a great deal of experience, will be more than happy to show you their complications, percentages of each of these complications, and examples of them. So you should definitely ask this question, because I think it's important for you to both be confident in the choice that you're making. Another question which is important for patients in differing degrees is, what will be the average recovery? A lot of patients have to get back to activity of some description, especially in this aesthetic surgery world, and they need to know when they can get back to either work activity, fitness activity, get back to their families, get back to people who won't necessarily know they've had cosmetic surgery. And it's important to know how long will their recovery be. Not only is it good to know how long the normal recovery would be, but I always tell patients the short and the long version. The long version is important, not because most patients take a long time to recover. There are averages, of course, but what all an average means is that most patients recover in that amount of time. For every 20 patients who recover in an average amount of time, you'll have one that recovers super fast, and more importantly, one that recovers very slowly. If this is you and you have significant life events planned, we often see patients who are getting married, for example, and they have a specific date by which they have to be recovered. We can't, by only telling them the average recovery time, give them any real information as to their possible delayed recovery time, which may well be extremely important to them. It's about asking questions of your surgeon that are specifically relevant to you and giving your surgeon the extra insight to know that your case may be not average. It may require special consideration. Talking about complications, it's important to know that if you are to suffer from a complication of surgery, then how will this be managed? Again, as we talked about before, this is partly the contract between you and the hospital, but it's also a contract between you and your surgeon. So your surgeon will need to tell you what the process is, how complications will be managed, what is the common course of action, what is the outcome when complications are experienced, and how this will be covered both financially and in terms of time commitment for you both. This is an important question for a lot of people because, as we all know, surgery usually goes well, but there is no guarantee that it will go well. If there are any problems, you need to know that these problems will be covered. It's almost a surgical guarantee, if you like, but you wouldn't buy an expensive item of anything if you didn't have some guarantee that it was going to work for you. A more non-specific question, but again, something that's very important both to the surgeon and the patient is, what happens if I'm not satisfied with my surgical outcome? For many surgeries, this is more about the function of the surgery rather than the nuanced aesthetic. But of course, in my business, in aesthetic surgery, it can be very nuanced. A patient may find some part of their surgical result not to their liking, even though it's exactly what the surgeon thought the patient wanted and exactly what was intended. And so it's important for both of you to have this discussion, because if patients are unable to consider or accept or cope with the idea that their surgery will be anything other than perfect, then this is a very important thing to discuss before surgery, because once the operation's been performed, if the patient thinks otherwise, it's something that cannot be undone. This is especially important when considering things like scar placement and signs of surgery, which are never invisible and need to be discussed in detail beforehand. Another important question is, am I a good candidate for this operation? Some patients are too young for certain operations. Some patients' problem is not exactly what they thought. Maybe they have a heavy eyelid rather than a fold of skin in front of the eyelid, and the operation for each of these two is different in my specialty. But it's important for the patient to know what about their problem is standard, but also what about their problem is non-standard. There may be problems with skin quality, there may be problems with aging tissues, and all of these need to be discussed in detail. The reason being that not every patient gets exactly the same outcome, and it's important to tell patients there will be a moderate change if that's the case, or there will be a profound change if that's also the case. Patients should always ask in any surgical specialty where the outcome has some aesthetic to it to see photos of what they could expect. Of course, photos do not guarantee a specific result. If you show a photo of one patient with an excellent result, that does not mean that the patient who's asking about their surgery is going to get the same result or even a very similar result. But it's important to highlight what changes they can expect. In my practice, it pays to show a patient a picture of somebody similar to them. When considering facelift surgery, full faces behave very differently to slim faces, and elderly skin looks very different post-surgically than youthful skin. So I try and show patients pictures of someone who's been through exactly the same procedure, who looks very much like them. This shows that you both can be on the same page, you both have similar expectations, and it's also a sign that your surgeon has enough experience to tailor their operation to someone just like you. Something that I recommend all patients do, irrespective of their surgery, is ask to come back again. In the UK, it's necessary that there is at least 2 weeks before consultation and surgery, but in my practice and in many practices, I think it's essential to bring the patient back and then ask them to discuss any issues or concerns regarding that information or the conversation that you've had. It's very important that patients have 2 opportunities to discuss the surgery. They very rarely ask the same questions twice, but it's an excellent way to make sure there's no confusion. I very much encourage the patients to bring a friend or family member with them, because 4 eyes are better than 2 and 4 ears are better than 2 when it comes to asking questions and absorbing information. And it's someone that patient can bounce off their questions and concerns both during and after the consultation, and I think this is an absolutely invaluable way to cement your choice in your mind with the help of somebody else's unbiased opinion. Finally, I recommend to all patients that they ask any and all questions that they have, and I supply them all with additional information, post-operative sheets regarding their recovery, their emotional status after their surgery, and these videos. These videos originally, when I started making them, were purely designed to help patients make informed choices around their surgery, and these days they've gone on to be something a little more mainstream, but I think it's hugely important to offer patients the information they need to have in as many different formats as possible to allow them to make a genuinely informed, considered choice where they completely understand what it is they're letting themselves in for. So if you enjoyed this video, then please have a look at the links below, where you'll see a number of other videos regarding cosmetic surgery. If you have any other specific questions or suggestions as to what videos we post in the future, then by all means leave them in the comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.